This meeting is being recorded.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. I'm gonna turn my camera on here in just a second. Trying to find my.
Hey,
Uh, Hi. Um, Christina, I see that you have a Fathom note taker and it's on this call. That is cool.
Uh, well, I think like when was trying to like sign up or request access or whatever,
Huh?
it like automatically like downloaded to my computer, so it's there now. I don't know.
That's interesting. Normally it doesn't do that. I haven't had anybody tell me that that did that. And I actually the reason why I'm bringing it up is because like it's cool that your note taker is on calls that you're on because I only have mine set up to when I join or when I'm hosting a Zoom call, then it's like on there if I'm hosting, but if I get on somebody else's Zoom call, then I have to depend on them to send me the notes. So
Oh, okay.
I wonder how yours is set up. So that's cool. Um, yeah, no, this like the Fathom note taker thing to me has been like a game changer. So even though you really want it on your computer, I promise you, I mean, I'm sure you can delete it. You don't have to have it set up in order
Yeah.
to access the notes, but if you do want to keep it, it's really like beneficial.
is
Okay.
Fathom free?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you always used it. I just was curious if it was free.
Yeah, no, I got it from Jen. Jen is the person
Okay.
who showed me about it.
Okay.
But Christina, how's everything going? How was your week?
Um, uh, my week was crazy. It's still crazy. Because I'm like trying to balance everything as far as like I have three kids' birthdays this month, and then I'm a social worker, and so I have two of my licenses come due this month as well. So, and then it's like trying to keep up with the inquiries that reach out to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, trying to post to social media, it's been a little challenging. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I have two little kids, and then I was doing all my continuing education, or I guess my SAE renewal
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
it's a lot trying to do all that and work.
yeah.
Definitely. Well, okay, so just so I get an idea, so you do social work full time.
Yeah. And I
And
create my own schedule because I'm contract. So, but in order for me to live, I have to work like 40 hours at least a week.
yeah,
So, so yeah, at least 40 hours a week I do work.
gosh. One of our agents at our brokerage, she used to do social work, and
Yeah.
she's like, I'm so glad to not be doing that anymore.
I am, that's what I would love to just transition full time into this because,
Yeah,
and I work from home, but still it's mentally taxing. So yeah.
no, I get it. Well, so it sounds like probably your apartment locating stuff is probably like the last thing on your list, which makes sense because you have to eat and you have to pay your bills. So,
Yeah.
so I think we need to figure out how to like help you structure to where you can eventually like transition into being full time if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, that is exactly what I want to do. And I would love to try to figure that out and try to like put some type of system in place because sometimes at the end of the day, like I have these messages on like Facebook Marketplace, but it's like I don't want to talk to anybody because I just talked to 10 patients all day, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's not that I don't want to, but I don't want to because you're just like exhausted. So I want to, I don't know if like I need to like set a particular day where I can like respond to people or I don't know what to do at this point, but I would love to make this transition like full time before the end of the year is out.
Yeah, well, that's a good, what we're in April, so yeah,
April.
that's a good time frame. I made like a little, I think it's in the script thing, but I made like a little just my advice on like how to what am I trying to say? How to go
Transition.
from yeah,
Yeah.
transition. Did you see that document that I
I
made?
I think I saw it. I didn't read through the whole thing. I think I read through there was another one because that was the one with like four different, it was like, I don't know, the way it came through my WhatsApp. It's like, it
Uh,
was like four different pictures, I think.
I think that they're linked on the website though too. And if they're not linked on the website, like under the resources, then we'll put
Okay.
them on the website today.
Okay.
Kelly, could you make a note that we need to do that? To
Okay.
like the scripts on the website. Um, well, I think that like I would definitely go back and look at that if that is something that you want to do. I don't remember exactly everything.
Found it.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, I think if you want to transition by the end of the year, then this is like a really good time to start making a plan. I think that I definitely can resonate like with just being emotionally and energetically drained by this end of the day. And you're like, I want to be doing this full time, but I'm just so exhausted and all of that. So I get it. So I think that like maybe making some sort of a strategy to where like the people that you are working with are such quality people that you're not having to respond to like 15 people.
Right. Right. Right.
So I think that so yeah, and we've already talked a lot about Facebook Marketplace and all of that. It's you may every blue moon get a really great lead, but I think that it's just not worth the amount of energy that you put into it and like for what you get out. I think that you would feel so much better if you even were getting like, I don't know, if you were getting 10 leads a month or something, and even if you were closing like 2 to 3 of them, like I think that would feel so much better than getting 50 inquiries and closing
Right.
like 5. That would
Yeah.
just be better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. I will say I did just get like, I had one lead from Facebook that I closed in December, and she just texted me like an hour, like not even an hour ago, and she was like, "Hey, you helped me so well with finding an apartment. Can I refer my brother to you? Can I send him your information?" And so, and she was like in Dallas, Dallas. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." So I got that. I am working on like three other people right now, but it's like they're not ready until like they won't move until like May, June. So
Well, the thing, if they're looking May, June, this is the right time to be helping them.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I have one, I texted him yesterday because I'm like, you've been putting this off for 2 weeks, you know? So I was like, let's set up tours for this weekend. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna shoot off some gift cards here today or tomorrow with his time. So
yeah. Well, I would say with the person that sent you the client that you helped in December, if she's wanting to send her brother, if I were you, I would spend like, I don't know, $20 and I
mhm.
would like send her something. Like
Okay.
because to me, it's so much easier to like turn existing clients into more clients into more clients than
Right.
like trying to just get clients.
Right, right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so if she already likes you, you already helped her, and she's sending somebody. I just feel like if you were to send her a gift, she's gonna like always send you other people too.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would definitely like you could send her an Amazon gift card. You could
Yeah.
even like electronically. It's better to do it like, I don't know, to send them something nice, like that they can like put in their hands than
Yeah.
just sending them like a link. But yeah, I mean you could send a digital business card. I do not send business or don't send gift cards through the mail. I've had them stolen before and like lost like $500. So don't ever send
Okay.
cards through the mail. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean you could either send them like a cute, I don't know, like a Yeti or something, and
Oh,
like thank you so much, like for the referral, blah blah blah, and send her a card. That's
yeah.
honestly what I would probably do. I would probably send her like a Yeti or something or a coffee mug and send her like
Stanley cups are in. So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, that's cute. Okay. I'm gonna
yeah.
do that.
So I
I'm
would do that, and I would just like I think like right now I would like really focus on like the quality clients. If you feel like somebody is super actively like talking to you and all of that, then I would really focus on those people. But if you have a whole bunch of people that are just kind of like in and out, like MIA, then I would like follow up with them maybe like once a week. But I
Mhm.
wouldn't just like kill yourself on trying to follow up with those people because I just personally think that like energetically, if you are spread so thin, you're not going to give like a good version of yourself to anybody.
Yeah.
So you might
Yeah.
as well focus on like the actual people. So even if that means you have one person, which I'm sure this girl's brother, he's probably not going to ghost you. Like he probably will be legit. So hopefully he
Yeah.
doesn't have any kind of
Right.
issues. Like, but yeah, I mean, that for sure should be good. And then your other people, like my rule of thumb is if somebody's looking 30, 60, 90 days out, I follow up with them probably twice a week
Yeah.
because they're like they're gonna move soon. But if it's
Yeah.
somebody who's moving like 6 months out, then I might be following up with them once a week, once every other week.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of
Okay.
be like touching base and like, hey, don't forget about me type
Right.
thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um,
what were you gonna say?
nothing.
Um, okay, cool. Yeah. So I would definitely, I don't know what your schedule looks like on a like normal basis, but so when you normally work, like, are you working 9 to 5? Are you like waking up at 6 and like working from bed and then like, like, are you like, what, do you have a schedule of any sort?
Technically, I try to do like 8 a.m. is like my first patient, and then 6 p.m. I typically try to make that my last patient, but it kind of depends on like if my kids have certain activities, then I'll block off and then I'll make that hour up at the end of the day, or I'll make it up on the weekends or something like that. Um, but most of the time it's 8 to 6.
Okay. And you
Um,
said you can make your own schedule.
yeah,
Like,
I create my own schedule. I block it off, move stuff around. Um, so
so
yeah.
if I were you, like, especially because you're not dealing with like a whole bunch of clients right now, if I were you, I would do all of my follow-ups like before the afternoon for apartment locating. So if you can start at like, say you could start at 8:30 or 9 for your social work job, I would do all of your follow-ups like because it takes you 30 minutes to send like a text message or an email and then post on Instagram. So if I were you, I would do it in the beginning of the day. Um, so that way you're not waiting until the evening time and then you're just like dead exhausted.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
I would do. Or do it like during your lunch break, if you
I
have
don't
one.
I don't make one. I
Well,
literally work straight through those hours.
no. Well, I will say that this is
I'll do
something that
like early morning. Yeah.
yeah, no. Well, I will say this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and just over the past couple years of my life that I've noticed we get so much more done if we like maybe work really hard for a couple of hours, but then also take breaks. I
Mhm.
think that a lot of people are like, oh, well, if I just work all the way through, if I start really early and like never get up for lunch, like they think they get more done. But there's
Right.
all these studies that show that
Mhm.
by taking like, oh, I'm going to take a 30-minute break or I'm going to like go for a walk for an hour, like most people would say, I don't have time to do that. You have no idea. I don't have time. But I just from the research I've read from my personal habits too, like I notice I get so much more done when I intentionally have like an alarm on my phone that's like, hey, it's 3 o'clock. You need to go like walk the block.
Right. I teach
So
my patients that actually. I just don't implement it into my own life.
of course, of course.
So, so yeah, and the only reason why is because like if I don't work, if I'm not seeing patients, then I'm not getting paid. So that's the only reason why. So if I'm missing an hour, for me, that's a lot of money, especially when I am a single mom.
Yeah.
So it's like every hour counts for me, and then I'm like, I'll be okay once I like finish this last patient. I'll be okay. But I should, instead of starting at like 8 o'clock in the morning, as far as like social work, I could utilize that hour to like, let me go ahead and make a social media, like, because I need a dedicated time. That's the only way this is going to work,
Mhm.
is to create like a dedicated time for apartment locating. So, like, to use that at least hour block, and I can kind of pre-plan the night before and say, okay, I need to do this, this, and this at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Mhm.
Or I can create my social media posts like while I'm laying in bed or chilling on the couch after I get done for the day. And then tomorrow morning I can post it. So yeah, I think
No,
that'll work.
it's super important. We might have already talked about this because I literally tell this to everybody, but do you use Google Calendar?
Absolutely.
Okay. So do you have your, like, other than like, okay, your social work appointments, do you have like other life stuff planned out? Like,
Every single thing is on there. If it's not on the calendar, I ain't coming. Don't even count on it. Like, it
right,
don't exist.
then you're like me. I literally, if you were to look at my calendar, it's like wake up, eat
It's,
breakfast,
yep,
meditate, go for a walk, get ready for bed. It's like
yep.
literally everything. So that way I can look at my phone and be like, oh
You know
shit,
what to do.
like, I haven't made breakfast yet. So
It's exactly what
I, that's great that you're already there. So like if you haven't already, you need to intentionally put stuff in your calendar for apartment locating.
yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do. Especially when, and I find myself like, okay, so say for instance, if a patient cancels, then I'm like, okay, well, whew, I can go lay down and take a nap for a second before my next patient. But some days I have a moment where I'm like, no, I need to like respond to these people, or do something where I need to follow up with the apartment or whatever. But just kind of making it intentional that when, if somebody does cancel like the day before or like even hours ahead of time, I can go ahead and add that, like you said, like add that to my calendar, like go follow up or something like that, because it'll, once they cancel, it erases from my calendar. And so I can go fill that spot with intentional apartment locating, some type of apartment locating task. So,
Yeah, something. What I like to just, I have it on my calendar. So it'll be like, I don't know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is when I don't know, make content or no, that's not realistic. Maybe I like make content on Mondays. So like if something, it shows up on my calendar every Monday at 11 o'clock. This is just an example, but it's great because like you said, if something gets moved in your calendar, I can always drag it and like move it somewhere else. So even if I don't make it to 11 a.m. on Monday to do my content, it's still there. So I'm
right,
still like moving it to where it fits in.
right.
So it's like, I think there's a balance between being very intentional and organized and scheduled, but also not being so rigid that you're like, oh my God, I didn't do this like at this time. So I think just trying to find balance of like understanding that your schedule will change throughout the day, but also make sure that like we get stuff done and to set ourselves up for success. Like for me, I won't get like physical activity like unless I do it in the morning. So to me, I'm like, oh, I'll go to yoga or something at nighttime. That's not going to happen. Like, so to me, I'm like, I know that I need to do it in the morning time. So it's like stuff like that. I feel like with your apartment locating stuff, you know that it's not going to get done unless you do it like before the lunch hour. So I
Yeah.
think you just need to do that, like schedule it in.
So what would you say? I don't know if I'm asking this right, but like, what would you say need to be like the priority? I'm assuming like some type of social media content,
Mhm.
but like, what other tasks should I make priority for like that hour block that I
Yeah.
will have? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying. So the the first, so right now you do have some clients. So a lot of people start and they have zero clients. So let's just say you do have some, even if it's just one or two or three. So what I would do is 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week, I would do follow-ups and do like, I don't know, 20 minutes to do follow-ups. Because what I do is I copy and paste like the same text message to people. So it doesn't take you that long to follow up with people. So I would do 20 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week to follow up. And then since you are trying to build your clientele, I would also do like 30 minutes of marketing, which really would be posting to these platforms. And so you could do that a couple of different ways. Like me, if I'm posting content, I do it just on like the day of. But what I think is probably best is having some content made. So maybe you have like an hour that you dedicate a week to making content. And then maybe on Mondays for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, you schedule your post.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do it 2 different ways. You could either like 30 minutes a day, like do like you actually manually post the post. That's what I do. But I think the most efficient thing to do is actually like scheduling it. So maybe you could do that on Sunday afternoons or something. I don't know. So then you don't even have to think about it. I think, Kelly, what did Allie tell us that you could schedule up to 5 days out?
Yeah, or you could schedule 5 posts. I think, I mean, it can go farther than 5 days out, but you can only schedule 5. That's what I believe, but I haven't gone in there to actually check.
Get on Instagram or
Yeah, Instagram.
oh, okay. Yeah, I used to use I don't remember what that app was, but I used to use some app that you can pretty much go in there if you already have your pictures or videos or whatever, you can go and schedule it for whatever days you wanted to post and it'll just automatically post. If it was like a carousel post, you would have to manually post it through that app, but typically otherwise you could schedule the rest. Like you could schedule stories and everything.
For
Um,
all the platforms.
I don't, that one was when I was specifically doing Instagram. I
Okay.
wasn't on, and I want to say Facebook. I don't know, but my Instagram was linked to my Facebook anyway, so I guess it didn't matter. But it was before I actually like got active on TikTok, and which I really want to focus on YouTube and TikTok, but that's just me. Um,
Yeah.
I don't-
Well, I read or heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true, so I would definitely like do research about it, but I heard somewhere that those scheduling apps that like the like Instagram or whoever, they can recognize that it's being posted from one of those apps so that they don't really like send it out on the algorithm as well. But it's great because I think back then when all those apps, like there's one called like Schedule.ly or so, like there was several apps like that. I think that when those apps were super popular, they didn't like it wasn't an option to schedule your post on the app. But now you can schedule YouTube posts and you can schedule Instagram posts. I don't know if you can schedule TikTok posts, but I would definitely like that's probably something that I'm going to focus on this month is that I want to start scheduling stuff because to me, it's such a pause to be like, oh, let me like create content, then post it. And then after I know it's like an hour and a half has like gone by. So
Right.
I think it would be really a good thing to like maybe once if you really can only post 5 posts, well, scratch that. If you're going to do YouTube, I don't know about TikTok, but if you're going to do YouTube, you can schedule stuff out on YouTube like far out, like a month. So
Okay.
maybe you'd like have the first Sunday of every month, and that's when you like schedule content. But be realistic with yourself. Like if you're going to really dive into this, obviously you have to have the content ready, like edited, all of that stuff. So maybe you say like starting May 1st, I'm going to start like scheduling my content every first Sunday of the month. So then maybe the last couple weeks of April, you can focus on like having a gallery of content that you can put out. I know that that's what Sam, I think he told me he's been doing is like he just has a whole bunch of content he's shot and now like he hasn't even released it yet. So I think that you're on a good like plan. You know you want to quit by the end of the year. I think I would look in detail on like that document that I sent because you can start calculating, okay, how much how many leases do I need to have? How much money do I need to have? Like all of that. And then you can also kind of coordinate on how many clients have you been getting? What is that bringing in? Like I'm a really big believer in actually looking at like the real hard evidence in order to make a plan. So if you know that you need to make $10,000 a month in order to quit your job, then you need to figure out, okay, how many clients is that? Okay, how many leads do I need in order to close the number of clients that I need? So I would definitely like the last couple of weeks of April, I would get like all of your social media content together in a gallery. And then I also would start strategically planning out like your exit of your
Yeah.
social work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to create a gallery, so I need to figure out like what days can I like go and get like some apartment tours and then come up with like different ideas, of course, aside from like the social media calendar too, utilizing that, but coming up with some other ideas or looking at some other apartment locators and like what they're posting and copying that in a sense. So
Yeah. Well, if I were you, I would work with what you have right now. So like that social media calendar that we put together is really a great resource. So I would just start using that. Like tell yourself I'm going to use that for the next 30 days. And then maybe down the road, if you want to like start researching other stuff, awesome. But to me, I'm a big believer in like don't overcomplicate stuff.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
trying to be like, oh, well, like maybe I could do this or do this. Like just like now I think we have kind of like a good idea. Today's the what is today? The 9th. So I would tell yourself by May 1st, which is so
Like
so you've what 3 weeks? 1,
yeah,
2, 3.
yeah.
Yeah. So I would say over the next handful of weeks, and I don't know if you want to like write this down. I mean, I guess you'll have like this note, but I would have your social media content gallery set up. I would have on your calendar scheduled the time, the 2 to 3 times a week that you're going to follow up with people. And then I would say like, depending on how you do your marketing, if you're going to do it like once a month or if you're going to do it every week, like I would have that scheduled on your calendar too. So you have your follow-ups, your marketing on your calendar, and then also your gallery. And then also the fourth task that I would do before May 1st is have your exit plan set up. So like I would try to determine what income you need, give it a number, like actually give it a number, which will probably, I'm sure you probably have a budget that you follow for like your life, but I would like look at your personal budget, how much money you need to make, how much, like how many leads like that's going to take. So like what I would have done in the past is like maybe last year, say the last 6 months, I would have gone back and looked at all the clients that I got. And I would say, okay, on average, like some of the leases would be great, some of them would be not so great. But on average, this is just an example, each lease was like $1,500. So I'm like, okay, cool. If I want to make $10,000 a month, how many leases of 1,500 roughly do I have to get? So I would give it a number, like actually give a number of how many leases you need to get roughly. Obviously that'll change. And then based off of how many like leads that is, say you need 5 leases a month to get to the number that you want, then you need to figure out how many clients do you need to have, like talk to, because we all know you could talk to 50 people and only close like 5.
Right.
You need to get your numbers like all the way together, like your budget, how much money you need, how many leases that is, and how many clients you need. And I would have those 4 things done by May 1st. And then once all of that stuff is done, or maybe not even by May 1st, I would get that done in the next 2 weeks. And then the last week of April, then we can figure out what to do after that. Like now that you have it, like now that you have all that stuff together, then we can figure out what to do after that. Because you want to start like May 1st. We'll just say that's like the beginning of the new year. Like,
Mm.
new year, new me. Like, we're in our life together starting May 1st. At least I know I am. because-
Yeah, I know, right?
So I would,
Sorry.
yeah, I would just make a game plan and give yourself a timeline. Like, we have to, like, there's all these studies about like, we have to have like actual numbers or else we will just be like shooting in the dark and have no
Yeah.
idea what we're doing. So do you think that you can get those 4 things done in the next 2 weeks?
Absolutely. I'm a numbers girl, like, so I already know my budget and like what I need as far as like how much I need to make a month. It's just figuring out like clients, where they're gonna come from, and the consistency behind it over the next several months. Like if I can get consistent clientele to
Yeah.
actually close to at that. So that's
Well,
gonna be
what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
oh no, that I'm saying like the consistency of clientele is gonna be the biggest thing for me. So
Well, we're going into leasing season,
mhm.
so like this is the time to be on it. I like we're typically only slow August and September. Like those are the 2 months every year it seems like. Well, maybe August, September, October, maybe. But those are like the months that are typically so. Every other month is going to be busy. So I think this is like the perfect time to just get all of your ducks in a row.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Do you this year have you had quite a few leases or not really? Like so far in 2024?
No, I had the one in December, and then I had the one that signed a lease, and their moving date is like May, middle of May.
Okay.
And did I do anything? I have a closing this week for,
Ah,
yeah, so, but I think that's it. I feel like maybe I had another one somewhere, but I don't know. I don't, maybe not. Maybe it's just the referrals I've been getting. But most people aren't like ready to move until like May, it's like the end of the school year for like their kids or families. So
mhm. Do you have like a CRM or anything that you're using to keep all these people organized?
not necessarily. Unless I put them into Smart, um, I really don't keep up with them from there. I just like, oh, I remember this person. Let me text them and follow up, or like, what happened to this person? They never responded back. So I'll scroll back in my text message and follow up, or I'll just like write little notes to follow up, like put it in my reminder app to
Mhm.
follow up, so on. So
So I think that's another thing that's really important that you probably should get structured, is like actually being able to like, so say you have these like time frames that you're going to follow up with people. We want to have like, okay, I'm going to sit down at my computer and it's all in front of me.
uh-huh.
Thing. So you don't even have to use a CRM. Like uh even I've seen agents use like Google spreadsheets, like just thinking of the Google spreadsheet. And like what we used to do back in the day is like we would highlight the whole column like yellow if they were like kind of like
Uh,
talking. We would highlight them green if they were like actually like for real talking to us, and we'd highlight them red, like the whole column, if they've basically like ghosted us. So
okay.
you could do that. You also do you know what Trello is?
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
Yeah, so you could use Trello, and like I've seen agents where they'll have like a whole card and it'll be like every single client's name so they can go put notes about like every single client. So I would definitely suggest either doing like um a Google spreadsheet, and I can send you some screenshots of what I'm talking about. Either Google spreadsheet, you could technically put it in Smart Apartment Data and then just filter it. Like if you go to the client tab, like filter it by last follow up, but
Okay.
that's going to require you to actually put in there when you last followed up with them. So you could do that, or you could do Trello. I'm a big believer, like I would suggest Trello or Google Sheets right now, but there are other ones like HubSpot and Follow Up Boss. Like there's other more high tech CRMs, but in the like I wouldn't even worry about that right now. I would just get something to where it's like you can sit down for 30 minutes and like look at it, as opposed to being like, okay, let me like scroll through my phone and then I got distracted, somebody called me and now I'm on social media somehow. Like
Right.
you need to be like on your stuff.
Yeah. And we
Another
have
good thing to
tools
do.
now. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Another good thing to do when you do have the time to go through and find all your past clients and current is just putting their info into MailChimp. I don't know if you've utilized
Oh
that
yeah,
yet.
I do have a MailChimp and I used to send out like
Yeah, we've actually gotten a lot of like past clients that way, and we'll send out like one or two like mass emails a month and do like a property like move-in specials or just like a picture of us and then saying like free apartment locating services. And then we typically get a response from some people each time we send it.
that's actually a good idea because so like we have Boomtown with the brokerage that I'm with. So as you know, it's one of those high tech CRMs. But like I don't utilize it for apartment locating, of course. It's just linked to the MLS.
Yeah.
So, but I think like all of my apartment leads are definitely in smart apartment data. So I'm assuming I could probably pull the contact list from there and then
Yeah.
put that in MailChimp and just like restart my email campaigns like I was doing.
Yeah, that I did it for us. You can export it, and I think you have to export it as a CSV or something.
Okay.
MailChimp, it's free up to like 500 contacts. And then you can send a certain amount of emails a month. And so, yeah, it'll tell you how to format it, but I would definitely add that in to like do every other week to send an email to everyone. But yeah, that's a good tool to do.
All right, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, we get a lot. I mean, there's even platforms. I mean, I don't know if we didn't try it that long, but there's platforms you can do like mass text messages too, where it just like sends out to people. It was
Textly.
textly, yeah, it was expensive,
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's lots of resources. I'm really big about trying to do everything free, at least in the beginning. So I would like. I was laughing when Kelly brought up MailChimp because we used to have like 6 MailChimp
Oh, yeah.
accounts because we're like, we're not paying for MailChimp. So, yeah, I definitely would do like an email blast, but be strategic about your email blast. Like, don't send an email on Sunday afternoon. Like, people are out and about running errands and stuff. Like, so be strategic about that. What we would do in our mail, like emails, we would, like Kelly said, sometimes they would just be like our headshots, be like free apartment locating, like please send us your referrals, like that type of thing. Or sometimes we would do like, here's this brand new property offering 2 months free. Like, and then whenever you do like the move-in special ones, a lot of people will be like, well, where is that? And they'll respond. So doing that. But also with the referral thing, it's kind of funny because we think that it's common sense that, like, of course, we're in an industry where we work based off of commission. So you think that people that we know would know that they can send us their friends, but it's kind of like the same call to action that all these, like, you see on social media. You have to tell people, please send me your friends and family, because like a lot of people will be like, oh, I didn't know that you cared if I gave them your phone number. I'm like, duh, please send me your people. So even doing emails like that or like text messages like that, you can even follow up with like your other clients that you've helped, um, and send them just like, hey, just wanted to check in and see how you're liking your apartment. Um, and then they respond, oh, I love it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's so great. I'm so happy I was able to help you. Like, please don't ever hesitate to send me your friends and family. Like, do like little check-ins with people that you've already helped, because that is going to keep them coming back to you every year. And also they're going to be more likely to send you their friends and family, because What you don't want to do is like help them and just never talk to them again.
Right, right.
I'd
Okay,
also send it to your housing clients too, because
okay.
they'll probably know someone that's looking to move into an apartment.
Or
So
how,
just,
yeah.
just stating your services, because a lot of people don't even know what apartment locators are. And so just to have a flyer just stating what you do and even like just a short thing about what it is.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. Good idea too.
Yeah.
That is.
So I know we just gave you like 1,000,001 things to do, but I think that I think you have like the 4 main things that you're gonna do. And marketing, like the marketing task, that could be one of the things of your marketing could be like your monthly email blast or something, you know? So I think I would just like definitely schedule out those things in the next 2 weeks, and then whenever we get on a call the last week of April, then we can kind of see, like, you can have all the stuff ready, and then either like I would definitely be implementing it now, but we can also like kind of dive in and see if there's anything we need to adjust, just so you're going into May like really
A new
like,
start.
a good place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I know we only have probably like 15 minutes left. Did you have anything come up this week? Like even with house clients, like we have done residential, I've worked with investors, like I can potentially probably help you with stuff like that too. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about with any of your clients?
The only thing I can think of is like, okay, I know, like the only place my leads are coming from is like Facebook Marketplace. But people like when they want to know, like one girl, she was like, I don't want your apartment locating services. She's like, just give me the name. Or when people like ask for the location, like, do you even respond? Or if so, how do you respond? Or do you just pass over them and like move on to the next? Because I'm like, I have a million other messages in here anyway. Like I can just, it's not like a lost cause in a sense.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like the Facebook Marketplace thing. Like
yeah,
it's just, oh my God, these people.
yeah,
So that's another reason why I don't like Facebook Marketplace, because a lot of those people, they're getting on there to look for, and they're reaching out to you thinking that like you're the apartment building, and then they get annoyed when they find out that you're like just a real estate agent. So
I put that in the description, but I know people don't always read either.
yeah. Well, what I would do if I were you, if like when that stuff has happened to me, I just like keep reiterating what I've already said to them, like, oh, I'd love to send you more information about this. This is a really great property. I am a real estate agent. I do work on commission, so I do have to make sure that I have your contact information in order to register you in my system as a client, so I get credit for my services of referring you to this property. So I would just like have a paragraph like that, and I would just say that to them, and then they're going to come back probably and be like, why can't you just give me the name of the property? Like, they're going to have attitude about it. And then again, I would say, again, I really do want to share this information with you. I do work on commission though, so I want to make sure I, receive credit for my free services. I always say, so I receive credit for my free services, because then they're kind of like, to me, they're like, oh, that's true. Like she is providing me something, so she should get paid. So I always like psychologically say that. So I just will continue to reiterate that. Eventually they stop responding, or they give you the info. Like,
Right,
so,
right. Okay.
but again, if you get off Facebook Marketplace, I don't think you'll be dealing with that as much. I think
Yeah,
Facebook Marketplace is the #1 place you're going to deal with that.
yeah. And I did like for some of the listings, I did go in there and kind of like get out of that particular price range as far as like 1,300 and below, because that was definitely when I listed something at like 12. One thing was like 11.99 and one was like 11.75. So under that 1,200 range, like I was at all these leads, but they're not quality leads at all. Um, so yeah, I did raise it up and realize that now I'm getting less leads, but maybe they're a little bit better than, and they're at a price range where I feel like I could suffice, especially with the particular properties that I'm marketing. Those provide 100% commission. And um, so, and I've actually toured those communities as well. And I know like their requirements and things too. So I'm hoping that that kind of helps with weeding out some of the less quality leads, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, 100%. Like if I was using Facebook Marketplace, I would only be posting like higher end properties
Yeah. Yeah.
because you don't, it's just like I talk about it all the time with agents. So I don't know if it's like you guys that I've talked with or if it's like our team or just anybody, but it's just the number one thing I tell people, like you don't want 50 leads. Like you want 5 to 10 that are just really great leads.
Yeah, that's what I would prefer, and that's what my brain can actually handle at this point in life too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my goal, and eventually, hopefully, I can get away from, you know, Facebook Marketplace or that not be my number one lead source, rather. So
Yeah, well, I think something to consider is like, I don't know how much time it takes you to follow up with Facebook Marketplace leads and also post on Facebook Marketplace. But if it takes a decent amount of time, if it takes 30 minutes out of your week or an hour out of your week, um, and you've only closed like one this year, maybe two this year, if I were you, I would just scratch the Facebook Marketplace because it's not worth your time. Like, so
yeah,
it would be different if you were closing like a whole bunch of them. But if you're not, to me, it's just like that 30 minutes or an hour every week you could be pouring into another type of marketing that could be like not having you on this hamster wheel of like, oh, well, I got like 10 messages. So I'm like messaging them back and I'm going back and forth with them. And then like they're kind of not great leads and like nobody close. It's just like, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense time wise because I mean, our time is money, like not even just in our
Mhm.
careers, like, but it's just energetically too, like
Yeah,
takes us
right.
our energy to be doing those things. And if it's not producing the results that we want, then we should just trust that the other places that we're going to put our energy is going to give us what we want, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, makes a lot of sense. So, well,
Okay, you
thank
guys, I gotta hop off and grab my daughter from school, but I just wanted to say bye. Hope you have a great week.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to dive into today or talk about? Anything with your client specifically?
No, that's it. I just want to like come up with a system so I can transition and move on.
What type of social work do you do? You said you were working with patients.
Yeah, so I am technically a mental health therapist, so I do psychiatric evaluations for chronic pain patients and bariatric surgery, like those who want to get like the weight loss surgery, and then chronic pain patients who do like certain chronic pain procedures like pain pumps, spinal cord stimulators, things like that. And then I also pro aside from doing the psychiatric evaluations, if needed, then I provide like chronic pain counseling or um, post-op bariatric counseling and stuff like that too.
I feel like
So
that's
yeah,
probably emotionally
yeah,
draining.
yeah. You hear a lot of trauma and accidents and just so yeah, and you take that in, especially when you have 4 kids. You're like, and so yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, that takes a lot out of me every day.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's crazy to have like high stress jobs, but also to have jobs where you're like taking on other people's like
Yeah.
kind of. I don't know if I mean, I have a hard time like putting the barrier between myself and like, okay, this is not my problem. Like not
Yeah.
like my problem, but like I don't need to go get off a call with somebody and be sad about
Yeah.
their, because I'm like that. I'm very much like
Yeah.
an half person. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would be very, very
Yeah.
challenging.
Especially sometimes, like if I do work late at night, that's why I've kind of like stopped working till like I used to work till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And now I have to go straight to bed, but it was like the patients with the worst trauma would be my last patient of the day, and then you're sad because you just heard the worst story ever, and you have to go to bed. Like you want to go straight to bed, but then it's like, how can I go to bed with this on my mind? So,
Hmm.
oh yeah,
Well, you're gonna get over this
yeah,
hump and like get into what feels good. Not that like real estate's all like
of
rainbows and
course,
unicorns,
right,
but
right,
it is. I do think it is like it's. I don't know. I would like to think that it's like way less heavy than what you're dealing with right now. So I think
I
you're
think
on
so.
the right track by like making a game plan and then like sticking to that game plan. So I like myself, Kelly, Sam, like all of us, we're kind of all in this together. That's why I've been like posting on the group, like, oh, I posted today because me being a part of these like calls with you guys are helping me stay accountable too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
um, so yeah, so we're all here to like make sure that all of us like get to where we're trying to go.
Right, right. Okay, well, I'm very thankful, so I appreciate everything. So
Of course. Well, we will talk. I guess do I have these calls set up for every week or is it every other week?
it's every week.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'll see you next week.
Yeah, all right.
Bye.
Bye.